Alaska's fisheries are in crisis, and the aid isn't arriving. Senator Lisa Murkowski confronts Howard Lutnick over delays that could cost fishermen everything.
Senator, thank you very much. Senator Murkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary, good to see you. And I told you last year I was not going to disappoint you. Every time you see me, I'm going to ask you fish questions. So we're back to the fisheries aspect of your portfolio here. We're worried. We're just always worried. The fisheries in and around the state of Alaska, many of them, we're just seeing impacts due to climate change, due to additional predation, other factors that are out there. And we worry about the sustainability of our fisheries. But we know what has guided us throughout all of this, all the ups and downs, is when we have adequate stock assessment, adequate surveys, support for our Regional Fishery Management Council. And we're worried that NOAA's ability to provide the information is increasingly limited by staffing and funding shortages. So looking at the FY27 funding levels, can you give me the assurance that I need to be able to tell folks back home that the adequate resources are going to be there for the survey and stock assessments that really underpin our fisheries management system?
Yes, thanks for the question. And yes, we will make sure we have appropriate resources necessary to make sure we have the best assessments so that your fishermen can be successful. We don't want to constrain them. We're going to use better technology, unmanned, you can use enormous technology to do a better job, work with your fishermen themselves to have them be participants in that survey to make it better, more accurate, and make sure that we can unleash American fishermen and the great fishermen of Alaska, which obviously dominate the business of seafood in America, so that we can be supportive, which we intend to be.
And we do see that with advances in technology, this does help us. But again, it's the consistency of the data that allows us to make wise management decisions that have allowed us to be the most sustainably managed fishery in the country here. But having said all that, we also have, we see disasters within the fisheries. We have disaster requests out there for Bering Sea snow crab. We have numerous fishery disaster determinations, allocations, pending plans. So we need to know, again, the steps that you're taking within the department to ensure fishery disaster declarations and funding allocations are processed efficiently. I had asked for a list of what is out there and pending. And in fairness, it is stuff from back in 2022, we got one from 22, several of them from 2023, 2024. So these are backlogged. These are, there's no dispute as to whether or not they should be declared. They're pending, and we just haven't gotten them out there. Well, think about what happens to that fisherman that thought that they were going to be able to get a little bit to tide them over until the next season. That fisherman may or may not still own a boat. So we need to know that you're going to be prioritizing this.
I completely understand. The program just had so little transparency that no one knew what was going on, and I am committed to changing that model, making sure it is transparent, because I understand if a fisherman can't fish, that is the definition of a disaster.
Yeah.
Right? And I understand it, and we are on side with it, and we will work hard to make it more transparent and more efficient and faster.
Well, and perhaps if there's someone within your department that we can actually sit down with and go down through this list and say, what can we tell these folks in terms of timing and the process going forward? So if you can help us with that, I'd appreciate that.
Sounds reasonable. I'll go take that under advisement and figure out how to do that and work with you to
Excellent.
do it.
And the same would also go with regards to finalizing grants and contracts. Apparently, you were asked in a previous hearing about delays in finalizing some grants. You said that there were no grants or contracts that had been delayed, but we're still hearing from constituents that many are pending final approval before funding can be dispersed. So again, if we can just touch glove with your folks to give you some specifics to have us work through some of these lists, I think that would be helpful if you'd be willing to do that.
Sure.
That's easy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Murkowski, thank you.
This exchange is a classic example of targeted congressional oversight. Senator Murkowski stays laser-focused on one issue, Alaska fisheries, a backbone of her state's economy. What makes her approach effective is consistency. She even jokes that she always asks fish questions, but that persistence exposes systemic problems. Her main concern isn't just environmental pressure, it's government capacity. Without accurate data from agencies like NOAA, fisheries management collapses. Lutnick's response leans heavily on innovation. He emphasizes technology, automation, better data collection, and collaboration with fishermen. While forward-looking, it lacks specificity, which Murkowski quickly challenges. The turning point is the backlog revelation. Disaster relief cases dating back to 2022 are still unresolved. This shifts the conversation from policy to real human impact, fishermen waiting for aid that may come too late. It's no longer abstract, it's economic survival. Murkowski's strategy is clear: move from broad assurances to measurable accountability. She demands timelines, transparency, and direct coordination. Instead of accepting promises, she pushes for actionable follow-up. Lutnick ultimately concedes the issue, acknowledging transparency failures and committing to reform. But like many hearings, the real test will be execution, not statements.